police then say, these are hard rules to enforce. We reckon there's a bunch of people that are out and they shouldn't be out. Give us the clearest, simplest set of rules you can. And a curfew that says, unless you've got a lawful reason to be outside after 8, soon 9 p.m, out to 5 a.m, then you can't be, is much easier for Victoria Police.
So if the rule is in place to stop people going to those little gatherings, sneaking around, does that essentially mean that the rest of Victorians who you say are behaving really well are basically being punished for the behaviour of these smaller numbers of people?
But why are they being? Hang on. Under that, your definition of punishment is not going for a jog at midnight or going to the supermarket at 10 p.m. That may be a burden for some people, and I apologise for that. But the benefit far outweighs, in my judgment, the benefit far outweighs that burden.
The benefit of stopping a small number of people sneaking around.
Well, that's what rules do, though. That's what rules do. The vast majority of people do follow the rules, and I thank every single one of them for doing it. Well, I can lay out all the laws of the state, and they'll stretch from one side of the room to the other, and they're usually for the minority of people. They're not for law-abiding citizens, and those who do the right thing, they're for those who don't.
But there's quite a difference between telling people not to gather in more than 10, because that limits your close contacts, people follow those rules, versus making rules that apply to everybody when in fact they're aimed at a very small number of people. How is that fair that everybody in Melbourne is affected by the behaviour of a small number of people?
Because if no, hang on, that's with the greatest of respect, that's not the greatest analogy that you could draw. If everybody gathered in groups of 10 in the midst of a second wave with community transmission as wild as it was just a few weeks ago, this will end no time soon. So whether it's directed at a small number of people, whether it's directed at a larger number of people, ultimately everybody benefits by getting these case numbers down, opening up in a safe and steady way, and being able to lock that normal in. That's the absolute key to this.
Premier, I have a couple of regional questions.
Sure, no worries.
You've already touched on this, but there's no date for the regional state 3 to go with
Correct.
The case numbers.
It'll be when we reach that target and when we've got confidence that those numbers are meaningful. So just as a little caveat, but and the reason that this goes back to the point about we didn't divide regional Victoria up into 10 regions, say, and I appreciate it. Like I get the daily phone call. Don't worry about that. I get sometimes more than one. From a community. My mum lives in a community where there's been either no or very few cases. There's no active cases there. I get the call. You know, that's fine. I appreciate that there is frustration there, but it's not like we're asking those communities to wait for 8 or 10 weeks. We think we'll get to those numbers, which are low and they are cautious, because we don't want to have a massive problem in regional Victoria whilst we're trying to deal with the challenges we have in Metro Melbourne. That would be really, really difficult. We'll get there soon, and hopefully it isn't just taking one step, hopefully it can be taken two.
But can you see how not having a date on it is generating some concern that you're looking to push it out as well?
Well, no, that isn't the aim at all, and I think that concern, James, I'd be indebted to you and to your network. We would be absolutely indebted if you were to point out to every single regional Victorian that the current average is 5. So the current rolling average is 5, which means we are incredibly close. If we can continue these sorts of case numbers, then we will get under 5, and the 14th day will be upon us, and we'll be able to make some significant announcements.